Hello everybody, it is I, Mech-NZ, and we gotta talk about something very important. We have to talk about Donkey Kong. And don't worry, this isn't gonna be some long-winded video essay. This is just me rambling about how much I like this game. It's just gonna be you, me, and all of the Donkey Kong Donkey Kong things. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. These games have always been like a really big part of my childhood. All the way down to just how the game feels to play, the aesthetic, the sound effects that they choose, the enemy design, the OSTs. Everything about these first three games is just peak 90s. Hell yeah, man. Dude, Donkey Kong is just one of those games. When I was a kid, it just made sense. You're a gorilla, you've got a tie, and most importantly, it just has the basic things that a monkey does. You run and you jump. Running and jumping. That's all you need in a video game. You're running, you're jumping. Like, what else do you gotta do? It's so simple, it's easy to learn. Everything in this game is so impactful. You even have those like little comical impact symbols when you hit something. That's how you know the enemies in this game feel actual pain. I played this game a lot as a kid. For some reason, it never grew old. I always came back to this game, even when new systems were coming out. There's something about the game that just stuck to me. Out of all games that I've ever played, Donkey Kong has some of the smoothest controls I have ever felt. A lot of people don't remember Donkey Kong 1 super fondly as number 2. I always felt the first Donkey Kong Country was a lot more atmospheric, and I think the music really helps with that. The backgrounds are just so visceral. Like, this game is pure country, honestly. This is just Donkey Kong's island, and you're just moving through it. One of my favorite things about these games are the TNT barrels. You just throw them at people's faces. Over here we have Winky. As a kid, I thought it was weird that Winky was able to jump on zingers without getting hurt. And then I got older and realized that Winky is a poison dart frog. That skin can probably kill hundreds of men. Here in Minecart Carnage, there's this little secret that you can like jump down here, and it's just like a big shortcut to the level. And you think that like, you know, you still have a lot more level to go, but apparently, that's just it. It's a huge level skip. And as much as I like skipping levels, I never skip this one. This is my favorite level. It probably has my favorite song in the entire OST. The song is just so dire. Why is it so dire? I just love this level. This is the first level where you're forced to react. And both Diddy and Donkey Kong look like they are not having a good time. I always miss that end. I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I lose one of the Kongs, I always feel that the cart is slightly off balance. For some reason, it just becomes harder to judge my jumps. Another memory that I have of this game is whenever I would save and go to Candy's save point, I would always make sure to jump into the barrel before her little heart thing touches me. Like, Candy, come on, man. I'm your boyfriend's nephew. This isn't cool, man. The over-sexualization of a monkey is something you can only ever find in the 90s. Man, I miss the 90s. While recording footage, I am just trying my best not to talk too much about Donkey Kong Country 1. There's just so much to go on about. There's just so much. Stop and Go Station is such a great level. Like, these rock crocs, I don't really think they're working for King K. Rool. I think they're just chilling here. One thing I admire about Donkey Kong is that the bosses are not just like a 1, 2, 3 and they're dead. Although I will say, the bosses in Donkey Kong Country 1 were not that great. Also, I don't think people realize just how many f***ing bananas are in the foreground here. I mean, look at all of those bananas, dude. That is an insane amount of bananas. That's way too many bananas. Donkey Kong Country 1 also has one of my favorite bosses, Dumb Drum. I mean, come on, look at him. He's a drum. He'll just pour out all these enemies to you in this, like, gauntlet. I kind of wish the fight was longer, but it's honestly pretty easy. In these treetop town levels, me and my brother always said that this was where E.T. lived. Yeah, don't ask me why. That's just some stupid kid humor logic that I had. I love the mechanic that allows you to go faster as you are hitting enemies. Like, look at that, like, barrel pickup reversal. That's some pro gamer shit right there. I think most of us might remember this ice level as being one of the most frustrating levels to play as a kid. The beginning is not that bad, but then you have to go through this crazy, insane barrel section, which as a kid is super intimidating, especially since they have like the most intimidating freaking enemies in the game just staring you in the face. The f***ing zingers. And then there's that cave level with squawks. I remember in the original version, whenever you would switch sides, the light beam would actually hit the screen and you would go like temporarily blind for a moment. They took that out of the Switch version though. Also, Fear Factory has to be one of the best themes in the entire game. It's one of the things that I really admire about Donkey Kong. Most of these levels have some type of theme around them. It's almost like a mini game, and they expand on this a lot more in the third game. Also, my favorite enemy in the entire game has to be the zingers. The zingers are the most intimidating looking bee enemy that I've ever seen. They're making damn sure that you can't get to something that easily. They're just so spiky. I mean, just look at them. Simply by looking at them, you can already tell that touching them is a really bad idea, unless you're a poison dart frog. Last but not least, we have King K. Rool coming over on his ship. I like how you could have easily just kind of went around the island and just waited for him. But no, the Kongs just decided to go on a grand tour. There he is, in all his glory. As a kid, I really liked copying this phase 2. And just time my jumps with King K. Rool. An iconic fight, iconic theme, iconic fake out with the credits. Just an all-around good time. I hope you're ready for a roller coaster, because now we gotta talk about Donkey Kong Country 2. This game is the favorite out of the three, for a very good reason. It's 1995, and Diddy Kong's Quest comes out. Oh, it's just another Donkey Kong game. I mean, the last one is okay. But yeah, no, this one f***s. Right off the bat, we start off on a ship, the last level of the first game, only to find out that Donkey Kong has been kidnapped. How can you have a Donkey Kong game without Donkey Kong? With this bitch. Oh yeah. This is the first time that we're introduced to Diddy Kong's girlfriend, Dixie Kong. But how can she be possibly better than Donkey Kong?
They fly now! They fly now?
Gee, I don't know. How about giving her the ability to fly? Also the ability to just piggyback off of your partner and throw them like a barrel? We also have new barrel types like the box, which is just a box. The cannonball that you put inside of the cannon to access more bonus rooms, and treasure chests with prizes inside of them. There's even a new mechanic that makes Diddy or Dixie pause in the air when they throw an object. That makes aiming thrown objects a little bit easier. The Kremlings are now more solidly themed towards the pirate motif this time around. Also, who can forget these bastards who are just trying to fucking kill you? You gotta love their effort. There's a new claptrap enemy called a Clamp-On. Not the best name. And now you can actually, like, walk and swim in a single level. The aquatic enemies are a lot more, stylized in this game, I gotta say. You got like little cartoony starfish. You have Lockjaw trying to bite you. You have manta rays. I like the aquatic enemies from the first game, but always felt that bite size looked too much like just a fish. Along with adding new enemies, there's also a lot of new environments, like a circus, a beehive, a swamp. You have a haunted forest, medieval castle dungeons, and you can't forget about the Bramble Forests, which has one of the best songs in the entire game. It wouldn't be a proper YouTube video about Donkey Kong if I didn't let you listen to the theme. So here you go. I thought it was really weird that you can just scrape your belly along the thorns here. As a kid, I always thought you would just get hit, but that isn't the case apparently. If you have enough Krem coins, you can go to Klubba's Kloisk to enter the Lost World. These are the secret levels, and these secret levels are no joke. So if you come here, you better come equipped with your best running and jumping skills that you got. Look at this. When you hit an enemy and kill them, they make a splash at the bottom of the screen. Mwah! Chef's kiss. I also love these little victory poses after each level. You get the little guitar or the beatbox thing. It's hella sweet. Hella 90s. And just look at this. The sun is setting as you are going through the level. That's amazing! That's awesome! We're also introduced to one of the first new animal buddies, Radley. This is a little jumpy boy. He's a jumpy snake boy. Gotta love a jumpy boy. Also here we are introduced to Squitter, the spider boy. He's got 4 sets of Nikes. He can make platforms. He can spit webs. Honestly, one of the cooler new additions to the animal friend family. And then there's my least favorite animal buddy, Cox. Yeah, his name is Cox. You know, I called him Cox as a joke. But then I looked on the wiki. His name really is Cox. He's actually Cox. His name is Cox. Yeah, Cox is just the, not good squat. Can't even fly. He just sort of just carries you around. The bosses in this game are a lot more entertaining. We got Crow, the pirate vulture. Cleavor, the pirate ghost lava sword. We got Big Dick Cudgel. We've got King Zing, our second bee boss in the series. Zingers are just that cool. And then we got Creepy Crow. That's just the first boss, except he's dead. And then at the top of Crocodile Isle, we have King K. Rool. He's a lot more formidable this time, mostly because he's not incredibly naked, and also, he's got a gun. He also seems to have a giant SNES controller in the background. Probably stole that from Cranky Kong. After a nice long fight, we're finally able to free DK and defeat Captain K. Rool. After that, Cranky Kong will grade your game, and you get to see the credits with all the baddies. I kinda wish more games would do this type of thing. I wanna know the names of the bastards that gave me so much trouble. Now we have to look at the black sheep of the 3 games. Donkey Kong Country 3. November of 1996. The N64 has already been out for 2 months. And then, Nintendo releases this game for their last gen console, the Super Nintendo. It's time for Monkey Game number 3! Travel in this game is a bit different. Funky Kong is a full-on engineer now, and he gives you vehicles that help you travel around the world. So let's see what we got here. Dixie Kong makes a return from Donkey Kong Country 2, and in Diddy Kong's place, we have Kitty Kong. Oh boy. I remember seeing Kitty Kong for the first time and being absolutely underwhelmed. Very quickly, we run into our first new animal friend, Ellie, who is basically just not Ramby, an elephant. And we get to use Ellie for a total of less than 10 seconds. Alright, here we have another animal friend, Harry. It's a bird. It's a bird. He's really just there for you to collect things. Also, I would like a moment to talk about this guy here. What is this guy? What is this? What is this? I'm sorry, Rare, but these are not my Kremlings, man. These look like garbage. This is garbage, man. I don't like him. This guy is not a Kremling. All right, just look at this comparison. Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country 3. What happened here? In the third game, the Kremlings just look so bad. Why do they look so bad? The game isn't actually that bad. My only gripe is the enemy design. Like these motherfuckers. These are not zingers. I want my zingers. Where are my zingers? I'm not sure why they decided not to use any of the previous enemies from the other games. Some of them were very iconic, so I feel like it was a missed opportunity. I do like some of them, however, like this DK coin guy. He has a special mechanic. You're supposed to trick a barrel onto his backside. It's a fun little activity every time you do find a DK coin. Kremlings already exist, and so do claptraps. All of these other enemies that they made, I don't feel were necessary to be made to begin with. Just seems like wasted effort. I do have to admire the new enemy types. New kinds of enemies are always welcome. The environments that you'll run into in this game are pretty similar to the first game. Out of all 3 games, I have to say the third one is probably the most experimental. Pretty much every level feels different. They even try new mechanics like going into the foreground and then going into the background with waterfall levels. At the end of the level, you just pull up this flag instead of doing a victory dance. Kind of a downgrade. Swanky Kong also makes it back in this game, and the minigames are actually really fun. So I do have to give Donkey Kong Country 3 credit where it's due. There are caves where you perform Simon Says with crystals in order to get banana birds. Also a fun little minigame. Wrinkly Kong makes it into the game again. Sometimes she'll be playing an N64, and if you listen closely, the music that's playing is Peach's Castle. from Mario 64. It's like they're telling you to buy an N64. The bosses in this game are not my favorite. They can be hit or miss. I guess it's mostly because I don't feel threatened by them very much. Belch is pretty tame. There's Eric, the spider boss. I'm not really a fan of his face. Here we have Squirt. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be. It kind of looks like something from the movie Dark Crystal. Then you have Bleak, the snowman. This boss is actually really fun. I think most kids remember this boss. Then we have Barbo, which allows you to play as Unguard for this fight. There's also Chaos, the robot. And last but not least, we have Hey Rule himself. Apparently, he has a wife. This time, he's a mad scientist. But I don't know why. That theme was not seen throughout the entire game. Enemy designs aside, Rare still set out what it wanted to do and make a really good Donkey Kong Country game. Even if it was at the end of the Super Nintendo's lifespan, it still delivers. That's all I gotta say, man. I am tired. I want to get out of here. Get me out of here. Well, thanks for listening to me ramble, guys. You guys are so lovely. And as always, I will see all of you in the next video. Alright. Goodbye. Take care. Goodbye. Goodbye.